Hello everyone, Neil back once again with another film review for you, and today I'm going to be taking a look at Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I'm not going to spoil it right away, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about it a bit, just the basic plot line, and then I'm going to score it, and then I'm going to spoil it, and then I'm going to score it. So you have the choice. This is what I do now. I give people the choice if they want to stop watching halfway through, or if they just want to fast forward to the score, the number that I put on screen. That's cool too. just to see if it's a thumbs up or thumbs down, right? But I'm going to talk about the film a little bit here. So this is the 7th Mission Impossible film, and the 7th to star Tom Cruise, of course. And we've got the 8th film on the way, Dead Reckoning Part 2. It was shot back-to-back with this one, and it was directed by Christopher McQuarrie, who's no stranger to these Mission Impossible movies. He's definitely got it down, and some of the craziest stunts I've ever seen in a Mission Impossible movie, and we've seen quite a few crazy stunts. Although this one might have the best Mission Impossible cast ever. I think it's a really nice, wide cast of characters here, and a very clever idea for the villain, which makes it a little different than previous Mission Impossible. This is a very clever and different kind of villain that we're dealing with here. And yeah, so it's one hell of a cast and one hell of a thrill ride. Tom Cruise returns as Ethan Hunt, and he's got his team with him, Benji, Luther, and Ilsa, and all the actors return, and we also get Kittredge, who's also played by the same actor from the first Mission Impossible film as well. Joining them are Haley Atwell's Thief, and Pom Klementieff as an assassin, named Paris, and Ozark's S.I. Morales is the evil Gabriel, and Cary Elwes is also in this film as the Director of National Intelligence. So we also get Vanessa Kirby as the White Widow, who's this black market arms dealer. Her character is actually the daughter of the character originally played by Vanessa Redgrave in the original Mission Impossible. The story can get a bit convoluted, but that's nothing new, certainly for a Mission Impossible movie. It does concern this very clever villain. In this case, it's a rogue AI that gains sentience and uses this navigation system called Dead Reckoning to pinpoint the location of a target, but it can also make it seem like something's there, but it isn't. It's like a decoy, a mirage, kind of effect that the AI can produce. The AI is called the Entity, once it became self-aware, like Skynet. It's called the Entity now, and the Entity is just as much of the villain. In fact, it's really the bigger villain than Gabriel's terrorist. But it's pretty scary what AI can do these days, and I really like the fact that Mission Impossible is really seem to be commenting on that. I mean, it could really mess with a lot of people's privacy, and even imitate them, just like Reface or the kind of voice duplication that we've heard recently in other shows and movies. Identity theft is very easy these days, I'd say. Yeah, scary stuff. There are two pieces to this key, this MacGuffin device here, that when connected will unlock, we don't know yet, but it's got something to do with the Entity. The terrorist and ghost from Ethan's past, Gabriel, knows what it does, apparently. So, early in the film, Ethan meets up with Grace, and they get into trouble together. They're looking to meet a buyer for a key, and that doesn't happen. But there's a bomb at the airport, which is a much bigger problem, and Benji and Luther have to do their best to disarm it with answering riddles, which is like the AI, again, just messing with them, It's like pretending to be the Riddler, really. So Grace winds up evading Ethan with half of the key, but she winds up getting arrested. This is after they disarm the bomb, naturally. And Ethan pretends to be her lawyer in Italy, but his cover is blown, and they have to go on the run, which leads to this incredible car chase in Venice. There's also a very exciting train sequence, which takes up a big chunk of the third act. It's really well done. Makes Dial of Destiny's train sequence seem a bit quaint by comparison. Of course, movies have taken a lot of use of trains over the years, including the first Mission Impossible movie. And I don't know, I thought that they did a fantastic job here, though. This is maybe the best train sequence, fighting on top of a train and everything, runaway train, kind of sequence that I've seen in a long time. So the movie, yeah, it's a satisfying conclusion. Yet we, of course, know that there's more to come. So, don't expect a full resolution, of course. It's part one, So the film, it does check all the boxes for a great summer action film. and a great Mission Impossible film too. It's got mind-blowing stunts, it's got a good villain, beautiful strong female characters, breathtaking locations, and of course Tom Cruise running at full speed. You know, everything you could want or expect in a film like this. And it's about 3 hours long. You know, it goes by really quickly though. And, you know, pretty much as fast as the train goes in this movie. But it is intense, the action is beautifully shot, really well directed, memorable characters. This was a good one, definitely worth going to IMAX for. So I'm going to give Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 a 9 out of 10. Now on to the spoilers, as I'm going to discuss the rest of the story and the ending of the film. So spoiler alert, yes, you have been warned. All right. So when in Venice, we get this great fight scene with Grace and Gabriel, and she gets saved by Ilsa, who puts up a good fight, but she ultimately loses to Gabriel. She gets killed. So it seems that we've seen the end of Rebecca Ferguson's character here in these Mission Impossible movies. And we also have Palm's French assassin Paris. She also appears to die later in the film on the train after being betrayed by Gabriel. After he kills Cary Elwes' character. But she actually survives, and she winds up helping Ethan and Grace on the train afterwards, help them get out of this train that's about to fall into this gorge, in a scene very reminiscent of Uncharted 2, the very beginning of that video game. Yeah, she does survive. It seems that Gabriel is out to rule or possibly just destroy the whole world, you know, with this entity. But the entity is very cool and very relevant, you know, certainly. There's this great scene where Benji's voice is being imitated as Tom Cruise is chasing Gabriel, and he needs Benji to tell him, you know, which way? And Benji's saying, go left, go right, but it's not Benji. Benji's like, no, it's not me, you know. So they're very cool and, you know, very, very topical, of course, very relevant to contemporary times indeed. So, yeah, I just love that the villain is AI that can imitate people and basically do whatever it wants. You know, it has so much power, so much reach as well. So fascinating, great, clever idea. And Luther, played by Ving Rhames, once again, he's going after the entity by going analog. So he's going to be completely off the grid digitally. So he's using, you know, CRT TVs, you know, and old school stuff to see what he can do, and we'll see what he gets done in part 2. Now the stunt in which Tom Cruise jumps off the cliff, we've all seen that in trailers and on YouTube and everything, the making of that stunt and everything. The stunt where he jumps off the cliff on a motorcycle is amazing, but what's even better than that, actually, is the comedic scene where he crashes through the window of the train, just in time to save Grace, and it's very nicely timed and very well done. Also Ethan tricks Gabriel into thinking that he's got the key, but he actually swaps it for his lighter. So Gabriel winds up with the lighter instead, and he screams Ethan's name. And the whole train hanging over the cliff scene, you know, happens there, and they're helped out by Paris, the assassin, who's no longer a bad guy, I guess. And definitely got to say, you know, the train sequence was fantastic. It was really great, you know, seeing them jump from car to car and from ledge to ledge, you know, as each car would plummet below, you know. Really, really cool sequence there. So the film, you know, it ends on, it ends as we're expecting it to end. It doesn't end on a huge cliffhanger. It just kind of ends, you know, almost like an intermission, you know, almost like, okay, time for a break and we'll see you next time, you know, sort of thing. So, I mean, that's the only thing that I can say that is, you know, doesn't leave me that satisfied, is that we don't have a complete story, of course, in terms of like the full story. We gotta wait, of course, you know, this is Mission Impossible's Infinity War into Endgame sort of thing, right? So it's their part 1, part 2, Deathly Hallows part 1, part 2, all the movies that have done that, you know. So why not do it with Mission Impossible 2? At the very end of the movie, I just got to also say, of course, that there's a scene where Grace decides to join the IMF as well. So she's now officially part of the team. So, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, you know, it's like a big amalgam of all the best Mission Impossible movies, or all the best moments in Mission Impossible movies, put together in one big epic action summer popcorn blockbuster movie. And love him or not, Tom Cruise, he's one of the greatest movie stars in the history of Hollywood. I think this is the best Mission Impossible yet, and everyone should go see this in the theater in IMAX if it's your kind of thing. So again, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. See it. Alright guys, that's all for me. This is Neil with another film review, and until next time, peace.